Who is your favorite Pokemon? That is a question that I get asked a lot that I find myself have trouble answering. Now, like with anyone else, I'm sure when you think about that question, even like top 5, top 10, it's easy for the cop out answers to pop into your head first, whether it be the starters, legendaries, mythicals, even the pseudos. But if you strip those Pokemon away, what would your top 5, top 10 actually look like? You know, with over 1,000 Pokemon and there being so many different forms and variations, there's a lot to think about. And the series has been around forever, and I'm sure with a lot of people, there's a lot of like small and minute ways with new games, knockoff games, the card series, where even like a mundane Pokemon you wouldn't think of could all of a sudden be your favorite. So, what I would like to do is a series where I go through each generation and rank the core Pokemon that, again, aren't the starters, legendaries, pseudos, or mythicals, and see where I would rank them, and then take the absolute GOATs from each gen and do one final video where I can make my official top 5, top 10, maybe even top 20 out of all of the GOATs that make it through the entire series. So with this, we're going to start with Gen 1, our blue version, red version. I don't know why yellow version isn't on this shirt. It should be, but I just wanted a reason to show those off versions. And I'm Mike from U Party. We like to stream a lot on our Twitch and YouTube channel along with make content. Make sure to drop a like, sub, and subscribe. All the links will be in the description, or at least I hope to remember to do that. And let's jump right into it. So starting off, we have Caterpie. You know, it's a whatever mon. It's based off of... There we go. It's based off the Tiger Swallowtail Jr. I don't know, whatever. But, I mean, the Pokemon is pretty tit for tat. It really is just an early bug-type Pokemon. It's Ash's first Pokemon he ever catches. There's really not too much going on with it, at least as far as, like, for me, I should say with that. So, I mean, Ash's first Pokemon, and the fact that it's related to Butterfree, who is an absolute GOAT and we'll get to, I guess I could put it in the B tier. And that pretty much saves it, for the most part. So, after Caterpie, we have Metapod. I don't know, something... I like Metapod, don't get me wrong. The episode where Ash has one and they just keep using Harden over and over is, like, kind of funny. But it really is just, like, a goofy mon with different different... It has a lot of different sprites, too, where you never know, like, it shows it from the back or the front or whatever. But, again, it's just like a chrysalis, I guess you would consider, with a human face, goofy nose. We're going to toss that right in the mid-tier. Next, we have the absolute legend, Butterfree. I love Butterfree. I really do. Especially in the show. If you did not cry as a kid, even now, when you see the episode where Ash lets him go, which he does with a lot of his Pokemon, I don't know why he does that, then you're not real, or you're lying. Look at him here swagged out with the little scarf where he goes to save the pink Butterfree. Again, absolute unit moment. I have come to just, over time, just love this Pokemon. Quick fact, too, pink Butterfree is not Butterfree shiny. It has this weird, like, I don't even know if it's on here, shiny Butterfree, but it's like this weird, like, green and red. So pink Butterfree, they just made it for the show. But as far as where I would rank it, though, would I put it in absolute GOAT? I don't think I would. A tier for sure, but not absolute GOAT. Would I glaze it? Yeah, especially Ash's Butterfree, but overall, like, I can't put it in absolute GOAT, but A tier for sure. Next, we have Weedle. I remember getting this card, first of all, when the card game first came out. came out and my cousin showed me it and like Pokemon was brand new. I remember I couldn't stop getting this card. But other than that, I would love to have this plush too also. But I mean, Weedle's just like straight up, I don't know, not as cool as Caterpie. So I mean, I guess I would put it in the just mid tier. Kakuna being next, I think. So it's kind of like a reverse. Like, I would put Caterpie cooler than Weedle, but I would put Kakuna cooler than Metapod. Something about Kakuna that looks cool. I don't know, like, Butterfree is more of like a, you know, nice, loving, soft bug, whereas, like, the Weedle, Beedrill line is kind of like a harsh, like, attack, whatever. So, Kakuna kind of saves that. Sometimes it used to have these, like, pincer things. I don't know if that's supposed to come off the middle of its body here. Seems like they abandoned it, and then, like, it's supposed to hold on to trees like that. I don't know, it's a wasp. So, with that, I'm going to toss it right in the B tier. Just straight up. This is a cool card, too. Koga's Kakuna, where it's, like, this is the first time I think I ever saw a Pokemon card do that, where it's, like, kind of like a transition or whatever. And then Kakuna from Pokemon Snap. But yeah, like I said, B tier, straight up. Beedrill, I think it's just been like baseline, just has always just been the same for me. You know, that his Mega Form is cool. I mean, I have to take that into consideration. Maybe I'll do another video where like I rank the Megas, but just like baseline Pokemon right now, its shiny is cool. They nailed it with its shiny. But yeah, it's just a giant wasp. Its Mega's like a glass cannon, you know, so I'm just going to throw it up there in A tier with Beedrill. If I had to pick between Butterfree and Beedrill, though, I think I'd go Butterfree. Oh, also, but I didn't touch on it, but Butterfree's Gigantamax is kind of cool. It's alright. It's not as cool as Beedrill's. Again, like a swap type thing, but... So, yeah. Moving on to Pidgey. This is Pidgeotto, but... Moving on to Pidgey, it's the first bird. Like, the first OG. It's like the OG. I hate to put nostalgia goggles on. And, like, I might skew a little bit with some of these. I'm trying to be, like, as objective as possible without, you know, nostalgia goggles coming on. But Pidgey, OG bird, you know, you have your first route bird. I wouldn't put it in just mid. Or maybe I would. It's just, it's Pidgey, you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe I would put it in just mid. Now, Pidgeotto, different story. Pidgeotto looks cool, right? Everybody probably rocked one at some point or another. And then Ash's Pidgeotto always held it down. Like, that was a core staple. Remember the episode where Ash was literally dying and, like, his like, core team just had to, like, help him out? I think he got rid of Butterfree by this point, or he just wasn't here. But Pidgeotto is there as the OG core. So, I mean, outside of that, again, everybody, you know, rocked with one, Pidgey and then Pidgeotto. So, with all that being said, I toss it in the B tier. And then, given that, Pidgeot is a unit. There's something about Pidgeot that just looks cool. Like, he gives that, like, badass, like, final evolution bird, a normal flying, which is like one of the most common types. I don't know why, but it is what it is. If not the most common dual type, I could be wrong on that. You can fact check me on that, but Pidgeot just looks goated. I found this Ash's Pidgeot Pokemon card. I don't know if this is real or not, but and then he gave his Pidgeotto evolved into Pidgeot, and then that same episode, he let it go, like I said, with a lot of his other Pokemon. I guess he ends up coming back to meet him in, like, the new series. I didn't see that. But again, goated Mon just gives off that, like, majestic vibe. Also, the OG trading card was, like, my first badass holo that I got. And they cooked with this. Because I don't know what's going on with the design here, but it just rocks, and I just remember that card. I know I just got done saying I don't want to put the nostalgia goggles on, but this is just a cool card. And then here's Corey. I remember the scene where he's riding him in the first movie to Mewtwo's Island. Like, again, is just really cool. So with all that, Pidgeot, A tier, just an awesome mon. So, again, not absolute GOAT, but A tier for sure. Next, Rattata. I used to call this Pokemon Rattata for the longest time. I don't know what made me change to Rattata so late in the game. Well, I actually don't even know how you actually say it. I think I just heard more people calling it Rattata, and I just felt stupid calling it Rattata. So, but yeah, this card goes hard. I love the design on this. But other than that, it's just a rodent Pokemon. But you know what I think saves it from being a just mid Pokemon? Is Fear. The Fear strategy. I'll just read it to you what it is. Fear Rattata. It's a thing in the competitive scene, and it is pretty goated. It's a strategy using a level 1 Rattata holding a Focus Sash to survive any hit with 1 HP. So you hit it, Focus Sash saves it from 1 HP. Then you use Endeavor, because you go second. So the Endeavor drops the opponent's Pokemon HP to where your HP is. So because he's at 1 HP, it drops it to 1. And then the next turn, you use a priority move, Quick Attack, or whatever else. So because it's priority, it goes first. You do 1 damage, and then it kills the opponent's Pokemon with Rattata. So where does the Fear come in? It's Focus Sash, F, Endeavor, E, A, Attack, and then R for Rattata. So Fear Rattata, again, interesting strategy. That saves it, in my opinion, from the just mid tier to the B tier. So Raticate. I actually like Raticate, man. Its 3D model does it an injustice, but in the show and its 2D models, like, I just like the way it looks. Its other form, I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to that. But then you're gonna have the Blues Raticate. You kill Blues Raticate, and he does it on the doesn't have it on the SSN, and that's why he's in Lavender Town and mourning and blah blah blah. I think that theory is stupid. I think that's a dumb theory. Like, Blue obviously boxed the thing. You know what I mean? It's a dumb theory. I don't really like it all that much, but I do like Raticate. So, does he belong in A tier? No. But he's also not just mid, so he's hitting the B tier status. Alright, Spearow. I'm not a fan of this Pokemon. Not a fan of this Pokemon whatsoever. I don't know. It's supposed to be in contrast to Pidgey, I guess, where it's just a mean bird. Like, that's its whole thing. It's just a piece of shit bird. And I really don't like its design. And, like, that's the whole premise of it in the first episode, too. Ash gets attacked by the Spearows. Pikachu uses a giant thunder and blows them all up and saves Ash. It also leads way into the Ash is technically dead and in a coma theory because the Thunderbolt that Pikachu did paralyzed him or whatever, and that's why Ash never ages in the show, and he's in a coma, and it's another stupid... I always hated that theory. But Spearow, I don't know, I just, design-wise and everything, you know what, honestly, this might go into a D for, the first D for dog shit tier. I just really don't like Spearow. Like, I just genuinely don't. And, like, it just kind of bothers me. And I think its shitty attitude just adds to that. Now, given that, Fearow, I think, is a top-tier Pokemon. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because, like, it has that, like, sharp design. It, like, I don't know, kind of looks like a dinosaur. I just genuinely like Fearow. I just think it looks badass. It could be one of those things where it's like, you know how people have their Pokemon that they like for their own reasons? This might be a Pokemon for me. You never hear anyone talk about how they like Fearow. There's also specifically an episode of the show where there's like Fearows flying around, hyper beaming. I don't know who they're fighting, if it's Lance's Dragonite or Articuno. I can't remember exactly. But I don't know. I just genuinely really like Fearow. Absolute GOAT, no, but A tier for sure. Awesome Pokemon. Which is interesting for how much I hate Spearow. Alright, Ekans. I don't really have much to say on this one. It's just literally a snake. It's part of Team Rocket. You know what I mean? The core Team Rocket. You know, you had Ekans, Meowth coughing. You know, Ekans backwards is Snake. Arbok backwards is Cobra. I don't know. It's just it's just mid, and that's where I'll put it. It just genuinely doesn't really have anything going for it besides like a Rocket staple. That's making me like it anything higher than just mid. Arbok, on the other hand, though, I think is a really cool design. It's a cool design. I like the episode where Jesse and James get their Arbok and wheezing. They're literally crying that their Ekans and coughing suck. And then I guess they feel bad and then they evolve. Yeah, I'm surprised they never did anything different with Arbok. He was never like anything crazy. And like they could have, I feel like they still could do some cool things with like a Mega or a different form or whatever. But Arbok is also one of the first Pokemon you see, like, actually dying. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see it. It might be a little small, but it just gets chopped in half in the manga by Charmeleon. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't know why. Also, I love Arbok's cry in the show. I don't know if I should even play this because I'm worried about copyright. But it always said Charbaka. I don't know why it said that. It's just a really weird thing. I'll just play it really quick. I also don't know how loud that was. But yeah, I always thought that that was really interesting. And I just liked that. So with that, Arbok for me, although not A tier, B tier for sure. This one I caught flack on recently. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video series at least. Pikachu, I get it. Mascot Pokemon. There wouldn't be a series without Pikachu, right? I just think it is so mid. It is such a mid-mon for me. Yeah, like I get Ash's Pikachu. I get that. The face of Pokemon, whatever. But it just is so whatever for me. I love Fat Pikachu. I love that they gave it a little throwback thing with the Gigantamax, which I hated that. Whole gimmick anyway, but they gave a Fat Pikachu in that. But, I mean, Pikachu is just what I like to call a comfort Pokemon. We're going to come across a couple of those. You'll know what I mean. It's just one of those cute, easy to like, marketable mons. I wanted Ash. There was an in the show early on when Ash's Pikachu lost to Raichu and Pikachu was in the hospital. Ash left the Thunderstone there. He was like, I thought it was going to... I was a kid. I didn't understand, you know, marketing and how, whatever. I was a kid. I was like, oh my god, he's going to get Raichu. And then his main mon is going to be incredible. And then, obviously, that doesn't happen. And Pikachu comes back and kicks ass. And through show logic, you know, whatever. So, you know, I get it. Respect where respect is due, but... honestly, if I catch flack for it, it's whatever. Everyone's going to be different. But for Pikachu, he's going just mid for me. Just mid. Raichu, on contrast, incredible Pokemon. I love the design. It's just like a big, more bulbous Pikachu. I love the tail, like the thin, long tail with that Thunderbolt at the end. Surge's Raichu is awesome. He kicks Pikachu's ass. There's another episode later on, I think in like not the main series, but like later on, where Ash's Pikachu fights another Raichu, and there's a scene where this Raichu like pins Pikachu by the neck up against a tree and literally just hyper beams it in the face. Like, Raichu is that GOAT. And then obviously, like, it just got its new Megas, X and Y forms. They're okay. I'm not stellar on them. And then Alolan Raichu, like Surge Surfer, like, I don't know. I think Raichu is just overall GOAT. Again, super close to being an absolute GOAT, but I think just falls short and is just an A tier poke for me. Although I do love it. So it's up there. Sandshrew next. I really don't have much to say about this. Like, as far as like competitive, the show, games, the trading card series, it's a Alolan form. It's not quite a comfort Pokemon either. It, like, I feel like just misses the take there. It's just mid. I really don't have much to say about it. I really don't. Sandslash, I don't know why I didn't have a thing for Sandslash, but I think Sandslash might fall in the same category, although slightly cooler. So I'm going to have to drop it in the B tier, because it's not quite just mid. Like, Sandslash has a cool design, but again, it falls short. Female Nidoran. I hate this design. I hate female Nidoran. I think it's one of the stupidest looking Pokemon. Its design is bad on the level that it bothers me. I can't quite pinpoint it either. It bothers me. Its 3D sprite bothers me. It's normal. Like, it looks like a dumb male Nidoran. Like, it looks like an annoying, like, dumb rodent. I am tossing this right in the D for dog shit designs, because that's what it is. This is definition dog shit. It's not even like a bad design, like, oh, it's goofy. It's stupid. Nidrina follows that up, where, like, it's not quite as dumb looking as female Nidoran, but now it's, like, has this pompous ass, like, whatever to it. I don't like it. It shouldn't have it. It's following in its pre-evolution's footsteps to right and D for dog shit. I didn't want to look at it. That's why I have the thing over it. Now you may be thinking, will I have the same take for Nidoqueen? No, actually, I will not. I like Nidoqueen. Is it because it has boobs? Maybe. But realistically, I just like the way it looks. I like Nidoqueen. I think it's cool. Is it as good as Nidoking? No. The stats are a little different, and Nidoking, I feel like, is a better choice if we're talking competitively. They also missed the mark on the shiny. I don't know what Pokemon or Game Freak does for their shinies. I think they just throw shit at a dartboard and just go, yeah, whatever. I've heard people say that, like, the game goes on, like, a color palette wheel, but then, like, that doesn't make sense for other mons, and I don't know. They should have just shiny swapped Nidoking and Nidoqueen. They didn't do that. But I like Nidoqueen. It gets a pass from its 2 pre-evolutions, and I'll put it in the B tier. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. It's not quite A tier, but I know it sounds like I'm glazing Nidoqueen. I'm not. Again, I put it in the B tier. Now, Nidoran, male. Awesome mon. I think it has a slick design. It fits the role it's trying to hit. I love this card growing up too. It was a common, but it was cool. It hits the mark. I love it. It's just a cool, slick design. I want to give a big shout out to Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Pokemon Let's Go. For anyone that doesn't know this, you should know this. Especially Yellow version players, or if you don't take Squirtle. If you're getting stuck on Brock's gym, if you go left on one of the early routes, you can pick up a Nidoran in the grass and teach it Double Kick, which is a fighting move that will blow through Brock's gym. Yeah, Rock's gym. So, yeah. Shouts Nidoran. He's a GOAT for that especially. He goes right in the B tier. Not A tier, and also not just mid, because again, I really like the design. I don't know why. It might have been this card specifically, but Nidrino, he just is that guy. Like, it's just, again, like, it's one of those weird middle evolution pokes. Usually the middle evolution pokes, they're weird, that weird in between. They really don't get all that much love, but I think this one hits the mark. I just think he looks badass. Not A tier, close A tier. He would be one of those pokes I would put in, like, on the line between B and A tier. I can't put him in the A tier, but he will be going in the B tier. Nidoking, I don't know. I understand he's a GOAT mon, and I understand he is good. But you can find me throwing flack at this poke. Whether it be because so many people like him, I don't know. I respect and I get he's good, but you will find me shitting on this poke. I won't pretend like I don't, but I'm gonna put him in the B tier. I can hear people freaking out, you know, he doesn't deserve that, blah, 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 he's goated, what are you talking about? But I'm not putting him in A tier. He's going right there with the other B tier mons. And, like, I'm looking at the B tier right now, and you're like, really? Caterpie with Nidoking? And yeah, I think Caterpie's a cool, like, they nailed the design, he looks cool, whatever. But Nidoking, is he gonna go in the A tier? For me, no. Unfortunately not. Also gets smoked by ground type. So, Nidoking is one of those mons, and it could be, I think it's like an early generation, an early design thing, where he's in that class where it's big, bulky, cool, spiky mon. We'll come across other ones like that, but it's just like big, bulky, cool monster mon. Like, I'm looking at the other ones. I guess I don't really like that. It's not that I really don't like it, but again, B tier. I could have put it in just mid, but I didn't. For how much I do shit on this poke. So, anyway. Clefairy. I don't really have much to say. For those of you that don't know, they changed it last second. They actually, Game Freak and Pokemon, they changed it last second. Instead of Pikachu, up until, I believe, the very, like, right before release, Clefairy was actually supposed to be the figurehead for all of Pokemon. It wasn't supposed to be Pikachu. It was supposed to be Clefairy. Which is odd, I guess, because it's cute and whatever, and it is what it is, but they ended up changing it to Pikachu. But if you see, like, early promotional stuff for Pokemon, this is more so like the old heads I'm talking about. You'll see Clefairy, it'll be like Pikachu, Clefairy, Poliwhirl, like, they were always the fronts. And it's because they really wanted to push Clefairy, but they ended up changing it, and then Clefairy ended up falling into obscurity. It's also one of the first alien Pokemons, I believe. That's why it's on Mount Moon. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But it's just whatever. It goes right into the just mid for me. Like, straight up just mid. Clefable, it got a new Mega. You know, it's fairy. There's the whole Gengar is Clefairy's. I don't know what that was. Clefairy. Ignore that. That the whole Gengar is Clefable. I keep saying Clefairy. Is Clefable's shadow. And that's what Gengar is. And it's an interesting theory. It's one of the better ones. Or at least one of the better ones that we've come across so far. But it's just like a little playground rumor type thing. Other than that, Clefable, it's not even that great of a fairy type. I didn't even really think the Mega was anything that special that they dropped in ZA. And I never really had any fondness toward this mon, so I'm going to drop it in the just mid with the other just mid pokes. Vulpix, remember we were saying before with Pikachu and maybe Clefairy, but I feel like Clefairy didn't really work out all that well. Vulpix is just one of those comfort mons, man. It's just one of those comfort mons. It's just like a cute little dog, fire, fox. Brock had it in the show. And it was just that. The design isn't anything to run home with. You know, it's based off of a Japanese legend, which gets fleshed out in the Ninetales, which is like a, you know, nine-tail fox, whatever, like where my Naruto fans at, but I'm gonna have to throw Vulpix in the just mid. Ninetales, on the other hand, it's not, I don't love it incredibly. I don't love it incredibly, but it is a cool looking design, and its shiny is one of the sleekest, best shinies. Maybe I'll do a video where I rank all the shinies too. If I do ever do that video, I believe Ninetales could possibly make it into the absolute GOAT, if not definitely A tier. Its Alolan form is cool. I think they cooked a little more with the Alolan form. But overall, Ninetales, I would have to go B tier. I'd have to go B tier on this one. I'd have to go B tier. Jigglypuff, I get, for those of you that watch the show, I don't even know if Jigglypuff ever ended up coming back or whatever. But in the early show, it was like a running gag. It would like go to sing. It would have this marker, so you would have this marker, it would go to sing, but it would put everybody to sleep, and then it would get ticked, and then it would think everyone hated it singing, and then it would draw on its face, and everyone would wait an LOL moment, and whatever, and they did it way more often than not in the show, where it was just like, here we go, another Jigglypuff bit, like, it would just show up, and after a while, you'd be like, ugh. It was kind of funny in the Pokemon Snap that it was like, it would get chased by coughing. You'd have to save it and whatever. And it was also kind of in a lot of promotional shit. Like the Pokemon Snap, it had its own thing. And I guess because of the show. But other than that, it's just whatever. It's just mid. I wouldn't put it in dog shit. But Wigglytuff, oh man. I can't shit on Wigglytuff. It was an absolute menace. An absolute menace, at least in the early days of Pokemon Unite. It was cracked with rollout. It was absolutely goated. Like, up until Unite, I never really had an opinion on it. Like, Wigglytuff was just whatever. Like, oh, Jigglypuff evolved into Wigglytuff. It's a fairy. Thought nothing of it. Unite changed the game. Also, there is this archetype that, at least between me and my friends, that Wigglytuff falls in that I like to consider the fat pink pussy group of Pokemon. Because you would not think it, but there are a lot of Pokemon that fit that description. And Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff, more so Wigglytuff, is one of those fat pink pussy Pokemon. But he is on the more goated end. Would I put him in absolute GOAT? No, but I think for Unite alone, he absolutely deserves a spot in the A tier. Moving on to the next poke, we have Zubat. Listen, I love Crobat. That's next gen. Crobat, I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert, Crobat will be making it into absolute GOAT status. And I respect Zubat for that, but what I cannot turn a blind eye to is every fucking cave having this goddamn Pokemon in it in almost every game. The latter games, they chilled out a little bit, but oh my god, Zubat. Because it evolves into Crobat, it just misses D for dog shit. So I will be putting it in the just mid tier. If I could put it on a line between just mid and dog shit, I would. But because it spawns Crobat, it goes into just mid. Next we have Golbat. Again, it's okay. Crobat saves it. I'm like looking at B tier, like would I put it in B tier? But I don't even think I would. Alright. Because it evolves into Crobat, and because I think it's good in the stadium games, and it gets Air Cutter. That's big. For those of you, if you know, Air Cutter. Also, I like this picture of Crobat with his mouth closed, in case no one has ever seen that. That's from the show. Also, his OG sprite with his tongue out, they got rid of that. They never brought that back ever again. It's just one of those weird early form things that they're like, yeah, we're not rocking with this. But given all that, I'm tossing it in the B tier. I'll give it the B tier. I think it respects. It deserves that. Next, we have Oddish. Cute little Mon. I don't hate him. I know there's some people that like really like him because he's just a cute little guy, and he's in like a lot of the games too, but doesn't really do anything for me. I'm gonna throw him in the just mid. I think he's just right there in the just mid. I don't really have too much to say on him. Gloom, I really like Gloom. I don't know why. I think it's the design. Its whole lore is just like a goofy, lazy, like tropical-esque Pokemon. Its whole thing is like the shit that oozes out of its mouth smells so bad it can knock you out. I think that's funny. You know, interesting design. I'm gonna toss him in the B tier. Yeah. I think he goes right in the B tier for sure. It's evolution. Sorry about that. I've like had brain fog there. Vileplume. Interesting Mon. I never really used him. I'm sure he was good at some point on maybe a Sun team or something. Then again, I think even Blossom may be better. You can check me on that. I'm not 100% sure. It's cool unlocking him in Pokemon Snap. He's based off of this flower, by the way, for those of you that don't. I'm sure there are people that... I'm sure a lot of these things that I'm saying, like, again, a lot of the old heads, status type, will be like, oh, yeah, obviously. But there's a lot of, like, people that... Like, a lot of kids and stuff that don't know these things. It's based off of this flower that's real. That's its head. It's, like, one of the biggest flowers ever. It's, like, indigenous to Indonesia, I think. And when it blooms, it just smells like rotting flesh, which is interesting. And I guess that's given its name, Vile Plume. Like, when the flower plumes, it's vile because it smells. But this Pokemon never really gave off that vibe. You know what I mean? Whenever you see Vileplume in the show and stuff, it's always like, you know, jumping around, whatever. But it is poison type, and it is what it is. You know, this Pokemon was just whatever for me. So I'm just going to toss it right in the B tier. I think that's just you know, there are other Pokemon that might love it and might think it's better, but yeah, it's just a B tier Mon for me. Paras and Parasect. Now, is it just me, or does it seem like these two Pokemon are in every friggin' Pokemon game that exists? I know they're not, But more so often than not, they're not, these Pokemon are not good. They never had like a niche moment where they were amazing, like in the competitive scene. Like Paris isn't a good Little Cup mon. Like Parasect isn't goated. Like, and it's one of those typings. Like, listen, I'm a newly conformed bug type connoisseur. I love bug type. I wasn't always, and bug type did always blow ass. But even coming around to loving bug type, like, these are just, they're terrible mons. The only thing Paris and Parasect have are like it's deep lore, which everyone knows already anyway. The mushrooms on Paris's back. Here's Paris, by the way. It picks these mushrooms and it puts it on. They're parasitic mushrooms. And then when it evolves into Parasect, the fungus has completely taken over, and Parasect is literally just the fungus. It's a ghost mon. That's why its pupils are all white, because the fungus has taken over and the bug is dead. It's based off of a real thing, a real fungus too that like takes over bugs. That's all it really has going for it. I did recently see an official like Pokemon short, an Insta reel. I couldn't find it when I was looking, but it's on one of their official Insta reels. Of like they made a little short of like an animated one where it's Paris evolving into Parasect, and it's kind of sad. I don't know why they made it, but it's just the fungus taking over. But you know, given all that, Paris just mid, and honestly Parasect it's also going in just mid. I'm not gonna put it in dog shit because I don't know, they're like the Zubats of the grass areas, but I don't know why it keeps popping up, but it just does, and it's just mid. Venonat, I don't know, I think it's just, sorry about the train if you could hear it, I live next to railroad tracks, but it's just like a run-of-the-mill mon. Like, spoiler alert, but it's going in just mid, not even B tier. I know there's the whole theory where like, oh, Caterpie and Venonat, I don't know why I said that like that, accidentally got swapped, and Caterpie is actually supposed to, here's the picture of it, it's supposed to evolve into Venomoth because the eyes and the horns and Venonat and the same thing and looks more like Butterfree. Interesting theory, but again, little playground rumor. It's fun, but Venomoth, I actually kind of like Venomoth. Back in the day, believe it or not, I actually liked Venomoth better than Butterfree. Shocking, I know. I actually can't believe I just admitted that. Because, again, you know, given how much I'm glazing Butterfree, and I always will, and I don't think there's anything it could ever do that will make me ever not like him. But I did at one point in time, early on, like Venomoth more than Butterfree. So, for that, I think he goes into the B tier. Looking at the tier list right now, I'm actually surprised I haven't got any Pokemon so far in the absolute GOAT status. I didn't think it was going to be this way. But anyway, moving on. Diglett is what it is, has its moments. It's funny in the show. Diglett dig, Diglett dig. If you don't know what that is, watch the show. Shouts Pokemon Cypher 2024. Another amazing part from that rap cypher. If you've never seen it, go check it out. There's a really funny scene in the, I believe this is from the movie. It's like a running gag where Diglett keeps like goofing up Professor Oak and just like just nonchalantly takes his bike away. It's really funny. But yeah, other than like Diglett dig in the show and just doing that, really doesn't do much for me. Could be a dangerous arena trapper if you're running a Nuzlocke, not competitive, or even competitive. I think it's pretty good Little Cup. I believe it still is. I haven't played Little Cup in a while, but I believe it's pretty good. Again, arena trap. Could be dangerous. For that, I'm going to put it in the B tier. Next up, Doug Trio. You'll notice that there's a lot of archetypes, or like groups of mons, at least early on. You know, we went over the big, bulky monster mons. We went over the comfort mons. We had our fat pink pussy mons. This is one of those ones. I would like to say you notice this more early on, but in future like generations, they still do kind of do it, where you just add on more is better. More specifically, 3, and that's what they did here with Dugtrio. It's just add 2 more, call it a new Mon. But I like Dugtrio. Even early on in the games, I like Dugtrio. Ground, stats aren't terrible. Good in the early games. Again, extremely dangerous Mon with Arena Trap. You want to avoid these in your Nuzlocke runs. Even in later games, early games especially. These can be dangerous. You can get screwed, even potentially end your run if you're running a Nuzlocke or something like that. And again, I like Dugtrio. Also really fast. Not really fast, but faster than usual. So with that, and we haven't had one in a while, I'm going to drop it into the A tier. I don't know. It's just Dugtrio. It's a lowland form. I don't know what they went for there. I think it's Steel type. Something with the tear and the magnet. It's like a lulz type thing, but there's also the running joke where it's like, oh, it's a jacked body underground. But like when realistically it's probably just like a shrew. I don't know. Anyway. Meowth. It's going. There is no question in my mind that this thing is going, and it is our first absolute GOAT. Absolute GOAT status. Absolute GOAT status. I have him right here, if you didn't notice. Or as the chat always likes to point out, I don't know how they see this, but my Lisa Simpson plush back here. Meowth, I don't know how or why it happened over the years, but this guy has slowly become one of my all-time absolute favorite Pokemon. If he makes it into my top 5, I won't be surprised. I don't know. But Meowth specifically, when I say Meowth, I mean straight up only Meowth. Not any of its other forms, not Berserker, not Persian, Galar, just Meowth. He is a unit. Team Rocket Meowth in the show, funny. Sometimes carried the plot along. His whole backstory. For those of you that don't know, why can Meowth talk? He had a whole backstory. I had the book. They made a book about how he was trying to impress. Like, he was just an alley cat, and he wanted to impress this female Meowth, so he learned English to try to impress her. But, I don't know, she found out he was poor, so he learned English for nothing, and whatever, good screwer. And then he ended up joining Team Rocket, and, like, Meowth's whole, like, arc in the anime is that he wants to help Team Rocket, Jesse and James specifically, because Giovanni's Persian is always his side, and Meowth wants to be Giovanni's #1 side, so if he helps Jesse and James, he can climb the ranks. And then in the Pokemon first movie, he has an amazing monologue where he's like, I'm just gonna read it, it's in this thing here, he's like, we do have a lot in common, the same earth, the same air, the same sky. Maybe if we started looking at what's the same instead of always looking at what's different, well, who knows? He's like basically saying like, why do we have to fight each other when we're the same? And I mean, that's just the show Team Rocket's Meowth. Normal Meowth is a goat. He's all about money. Yeah. If you have never heard Meowth's like actual Pokemon cry from the game, I'm gonna play it for you. It's probably gonna be too loud. I don't care. Let me just play it for you really quick. If you have Pokemon Go, pause this video, open Pokemon Go. I don't even know if you guys can do that. If you guys know that you can do this. If you open up a Pokemon's, like just click on a Pokemon and its page is opened up. If you click on the Pokemon, it'll do its cry and a little animation. You can spam that over and over. You know what's the harshest thing on your ears that you have ever heard that's hilarious to do in front of other people? Click on Meowth's and just spam click on it. You can just spam it and it'll just keep overlap looping. That cry alone will drive anybody crazy. I love to do that. Meowth, absolute legend. I love its Gigantamax form. Also, by the way, the, like, goofy, long, skinny, like, goofy cat, whatever. There's also a really funny trick. This is so niche. I don't even know if anyone has seen this. But there's a video. You can go look up a video as proof. Meowth's move Payday is, I guess, tied to your country's dollar worth compared to whatever country Pokemon you're battling against. So if you min-max that and you set your VPN to Iran, I think, which has the lowest currency denomination, and then battle someone online from Saudi Arabia and use the move Payday, the animation it uses is too great that it will crash your game. There's a video out there. You can look it up. Little tidbit of information. But anyway, getting a little off topic. Meowth, first absolute Goatmon. Persian, I don't know. For how amazing Meowth is, Persian is just, I think the only thing carrying Persian is the fact that it's like, it's Giovanni's, like, sidekick. It is like the mob boss's, like, his mon. You know what I mean? And, like, that's it. It's too big to, like, fall into the category of, like, comfort mon. You know what I mean? It's just literally based off of a Persian cat. And so, like, it just kind of misses the mark. And honestly, I'm dropping it in just mid. Like, not even B tier, just mid. That's all I really have to say about that. Psyduck, I like Psyduck. I like Psyduck a lot. I thought Misty's Psyduck was awesome. When I was a kid, it would bother me that he would... I get that he was, like, slapstick, like, he's, like, supposed to be, like, comedic relief. But, like, as a kid, I got that, but as a kid, it always bothered me that he got the short end of the stick. But I like Psyduck. It was like, oh, they're making fun of him. No, not my boy Psyduck. And, like, his whole thing is, like, he gets headaches so bad that, like, he can't control it, and he can do, like, psychic type shit, which I don't even know why they ran with that, but then didn't give him the psychic type. Like, need I remind everybody, Psyduck and Golduck are not psychic type. They are strictly water type. But for some reason, they play into the whole psychic element, and I don't know why. But Psyduck, I think, is goated. And honestly, I'm going to drop him in A tier. Do I like him more than Nidoking and Vileplume and Golbat and Ninetales? Yeah, I do. I really do. So, yeah, he's going in the A tier. Shouts to Misty Psyduck. Now, Golduck, you guys are probably going to roll your eyes. But I always loved Golduck's design. I thought he was cool. He's not great. He really isn't great. I believe he can learn Cloud 9, which, you know, shouts Cloud 9 Bull. If you know, you know. It's from a past stream. If you get that reference, then you've been following or subscribed to this channel for a very long time. But I just always loved Golduck. Where's his Pokemon card? His Pokemon card was always sick. That might have had a little bit to do with it for me. But yeah, I think he's amazing. I'm not saying he's an amazing mon, but I just think his design is slick. I think he's really cool. I don't know why they never gave him Psychic. It is what it is. But yeah. So with that, it's actually going to be our second absolute GOAT mon. He's up there with Meowth for me. I just really like Golduck. It is what it is. Another amazing Pokemon. We're on a streak here. I love Mankey. I always did. The episodes in the early show with Ash, Mankey, and Primeape are pristine. They are sick. Like, I love the fact that, like, Mankey and Primeape are just, like, they're just pissed off 24/7, and that's what makes them want to fight. I like Mankey's design. It's like that, you know, lanky, oh, lol, lanky Mankey. Like, it's a lanky monkey. He has, like, the pig nose thing or whatever going on. And like I said, the episodes where he steal Ash's hat and he just wants to fight him, but then Ash gets one, like that's a mon where I'm like, hell yeah, Ash actually evolves him too, instead of not evolving him, which used to be a thing that would drive me nuts. But again, you gotta market the things, and some mons are more marketable than others. But Mankey, if I can get him, I always get him. Solid fighting type, especially in the early games. There are other better fighting types, but it is what it is. I'm gonna toss him in the. I'm gonna toss him in the A tier. I'm gonna toss him in the A tier. Primeape, another awesome mon. Again, he's up there with Mankey. I'm glazing him for sure because I think he's awesome. I don't know if Ash got rid of Primeape. Did he ended up getting rid of him like he did a lot of his other mons? I think he did. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think he did again. But also a staple in the early show. But I just love, again, awesome mon. Annihilate? An insane late game addition to an early mon that I feel very much deserved it. I love the deep lore too, that he just got so pissed off he died. Annihilate might make it into absolute GOAT status. I don't know why I said might. He's probably most definitely going to. But again, I don't want to get off of track of Primeape because we're not there yet. So Primeape, is he going to go in absolute GOAT status? No, he's going to go into A status. But again, Annihilate, I think, will fit the bill there. Growlithe. I am going to catch so much flack for these next two. I am going to catch so much flack for these next two. I completely understand. If you guys got pissed off with the Pikachu or the Nidoking, buckle yourselves in, because I am not a fan of Growlithe or Arcanine one bit. Listen to me. I am a fire type stan. It is my number one. I know I said I've come around to bug. I have some other types. I would like to do a typing tier list at some point, so I don't want to get too off topic and delve deep into that. But I am the number one fire type, typical whatever stan you will find. I do not like Growlithe or Arcanine at all. Arcanine specifically, it bothers me that so many people love Arcanine. Let's stick to Growlithe here first. Growlithe, is he a comfort mon? He could be, but I think Arcanine completely overshadows him in that aspect. They push the shit out of these two mons. Growlithe, for me, he's going into just mid. You see, I wanted to put him in dog shit, but I didn't for you guys. Arcanine. Everybody loves this Pokemon. They glaze this Pokemon. Blue had one, at least in the show. He can be good. He's fast, fire type. I just don't like him. I don't think he's cool. There's other better fire type mons. I genuinely do not like this Pokemon. They made him like an undercover legendary. Like in the show, they put this Pokemon, I'm stuttering here, on a thing with the legendary birds. I guess like an early decision type thing. They didn't really know what they were doing, but they put him on there as if like he's matching up to these mons. Hell to the no. Get out of here. Again, I know he's considered undercover legendary. Favorite numbers 59, shouts Pokemon Cypher 2013, incredible line. But other than that, I don't get why he's so glazed. I don't get why he's so loved. Giant Dog just isn't for me. I want to put him in D for dog shit, but I'll spare myself the hate. I'm not trying to get crucified over that. I know I've burned a couple other britches on a couple other mons, and I'm going to with some other ones. So for me, he's going into just mid. If I had to use him, would I? Especially in like a Nuzlocke fire type run? Yeah, sure. I wouldn't even be all that mad about it, but I don't get the glaze. And I never will. So it is what it is. Let's move on. Poliwag. I really like this design. I genuinely really like this design. I think he's just a cute, cool mon. I like that his face is this little pink thing. Like that's his little mouth. You know, he's based off of an actual tadpole. For those of you that don't know, or like maybe have never seen him, again, I don't. There could be, you know, some people just genuinely might not know. He's based off of tadpole, and if you've never seen a tadpole or whatever, this is what their bodies look like. They have these like, oh, here's a picture. There's see Poliwag and there's belly, and then the underneath, you know, it's like, I guess their intestines or their stomachs or whatever. But that's what they look like. And, you know, obviously the creator based a lot of the mons and everything off of like bugs and, you know, things like that he would catch when he was a kid. So, you know, that's what it's heavily inspired off of. Again, Poliwhirl and Poliwrath. So Poliwag, I think, I don't know if I was I calling him Poliwhirl? I meant to say Poliwag. Excuse me if I was, but Poliwag, I'm putting him in A tier. Yeah, okay. I'm like thinking in terms of like Poliwag A tier. I really like it. I really like the design. And Politoed might be GOAT status for me. I don't know yet, but yeah. Okay, Poliwhirl. I like Poliwhirl. He's a cool design. I'm trying to think here, like, who do I like better, Poliwhirl or Poliwrath? I'm going to make that internal judgment while we move along here. But some of you might be thinking, now the old heads, I don't really notice it as much anymore. But if you're even, like, you know, younger and you're looking back on some old stuff, or maybe, like, if you're older growing up, you might have noticed, like with Clefairy, that Poliwhirl, Clefairy, you could be like, oh, I guess that makes a little more sense. But Poliwhirl was equally as around. This guy was everywhere in promotion. I actually have my OG Pokemon. Look at this. Poliwhirl. I even thought this, even up until recently. Why was he always... He was never main in the show either. You could be like, oh, Meowth, Clefairy, Pikachu, whatever. They're in the show. Poliwhirl wasn't. So why was Poliwhirl always everywhere? He was also front and center on the Times article that they did on Pokemon. Front and center. So I actually found this out. I'll just read this out to you. It turns out Satoshi Tajiri, which is the creator of Pokemon, has famously cited Poliwhirl, and sometimes Poliwag, so I can't blame him, as his favorite Pokemon. So this preference is widely cited in fandom lore as the reason for the character's heavy promotion, extensive merchandise in the early days of the series. So I always thought that I thought that was genuinely interesting. I didn't know that was Satoshi Tajiri's favorite Pokemon. But I did always notice that he was in and around, always super popular. So, do I like him as much as Poliwag, though? I feel like I might have misstepped a little bit with putting Poliwag in A tier, but it's too late to change it. I'm going to keep him there. I could justify it. Poliwhirl, I'm going to put in the B tier. I'm no Satoshi Tajiri, so B tier it is for me. Poliwrath, same thing. Water fighting, a very interesting early Mon typing, by the way. He's just like Poliwhirl, but just like more tough. I thought Politoed is probably going to go either A tier or Go tier. So Poliwrath, again, I'm just going to go in the B tier status. Abra, like Poliwag, very cool, interesting design. I always loved the way Abra looks. I always thought, especially, again, in the earlier days, that it had such a, like, unique and odd look to it. Like, it just looked so different than everything else. Like, the weird human, like, complexion with the... I don't think complexion is the word I want to use, but... like the uncanny look to a human child, like with the shoulder pads and the, but like then the monster aspect with the tail, it just looked so different than everything else. It was kind of hard to catch in the games too, because it always teleport away. But it's just a cool looking design, and then its future evolutions are just really good. So with that, I'm gonna drop it as a Poliwag status and pop it in the A tier. I think it's just cool, a cool mon, cool looking. Kadabra falls into that category where it's that weird middle evolution. And you know what I think does it? It's the tail. The tail is so odd to me. it's like this, it's almost like a tumor on it. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just bizarre. I never really got it. And again, I just think it just falls into that weird middle stage, getting ready for the cool next one in line. And honestly, I don't think Kadabra is bad enough to be just mid. So I think I'm just going to put it in the B tier status. Also, I want to go back to Abra real quick. I'm almost positive Abra. I just want to justify. I couldn't do the same for Poliwag, but I want to justify Abra in A tier because I'm pretty sure he's also goated in Little Cup because he is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, and he's just an overall unit in Little Cup. So I would just like to justify that for A tier also. So anyway, yeah, Kadabra, B tier, not mid. You also have to trade him to evolve. That sucked big time in the early days of Pokemon with a link cable. And, like, you could never trust anybody either on the playground. They'd always rip the thing out, screw your game up, not trade your Pokemon back. Wasn't worth the risk. So you ended up going other Mons anyway. So, or you would just end up stuck with Kadabra and he just fell flat. Alakazam, I think he's really cool. Is he going to go absolute goated? No, but he is a unit. For me, I could understand people who want to put him in the absolute GOAT status. I get that. Totally justified. You don't have to convince me or whatever. I will understand. But again, I never really used him all that much because he was a trade mon. ROM hacks save it by making it so you don't have to do that. His Mega Form is really cool. They definitely cooked. Again, I believe he's another Glass Cannon like Mega Beedrill. His Pokemon card was always cool. But yeah, I think just a solid Mon. He is good. I think he's normally just a Glass Cannon himself. Special attack and speed. But, you know, he was also one of those ones that it helped him out with the, before the physical special split because Psychic type. And Psychic was running rampant, too, in the early days of Pokemon. That's neither here nor there. But again, yeah, just A spot. If someone were to put him in absolute goated, I'd understand that. Unlike Arcanine. Anyway, Machop, incredible Pokemon. Awesome. Incredible might have been too strong. I'm glazing him a little bit because of how amazing Machamp is. We'll get to that. But Machop, cool mon, great to get. You know, he's part of an amazing line. So let me just say that. I have nothing bad to say about him. But again, he's nothing crazy. I don't remember him being crazy good in Little Cup, so he kind of falls flat of that. I could be wrong. But I'm going to put him in the B tier because putting him in just mid, I feel like would be doing him dirty for his evolution line. Machoke, again, goated, just Machop, but better and cooler. Sucks that he's a trade mon, you know what I mean? He falls into that category with Alakazam, Machamp, and Gengar. So, like, in the early games, you're going to get stuck running him, and you're not going to have a chance to get Machamp. But, again, I'm saving everything I want to say from Machamp for when we get to him, because I'm going to glaze the shit out of him. But Machoke, I think, is cool. We're going to drop him in the B tier, because I think that's safe. Now, before we get into Machamp, there's an interesting theory. This is one of the cooler theories, unlike a lot of the bad dog shit playground rumor ones, where the reason why Machamp and Golem look the way they do, I know this picture's a little blurry, is because it's supposed to be because they're both trade mons. Oh, so is Graveler. I forgot to mention it. If you trade Graveler and Machoke, they're both trade mons. That in the process of trading, they swap characteristics. So, like, Machoke gets Graveler's extra pair of arms, which is why Machamp has 4 arms and Golem has 2. And Golem gets Machoke's, like, reptile-type face and attributes, which is why Golem, like, looks more reptile and less dude, like Geodude, and Machamp becomes more dude Tentacool-esque. It's, like I said, just a theory. It's an interesting theory, but it's one of the cooler ones that I like. Now, Machamp, absolute GOAT. This guy is flying right to the top, as high as he can go. I cannot express to you how much I love Machamp. He is absolutely goated. And I don't think he was always as appreciated as he is now. Or maybe that's just me. I never noticed the appreciation until a little later on in the series lifespan, where I think, again, to me, it felt like Game Freak caught on, and Pokemon were like, you know what? Machamp is actually a unit that people really like. Let's push him. He's an awesome Mon. He got love in, he got a Gigantamax form. Not my favorite. I wasn't crazy about it, but it's still cool to see that he got love in that way. Pokken Tournament and Pokken Tournament XD, if you know, you know. A niche fighting game. If you've never played it, you should go check it out. It still somehow has an online base. But Machamp, is he the best character in that game? No, he's actually possibly the worst. But you can make it work. We have streamed the shit out of this game, and we have pushed Machamp almost to its limits. There's a couple other niche fighters out there that are also amazing, but that's neither here nor there. It's the Machamp love. He's just that guy. He's that dude. He is gonna go hard on your ass. He is a unit, always will be a unit. Goated in Pokemon Unite. He was awesome in that. I don't know if he still is. I haven't played him forever, but he's amazing in that. I could do a TED Talk glazing how amazing this Mon is. He's just great all around, and he deserves absolute GOAT spot. Now moving on to Bellsprout. Huge high, kind of a low here. I don't really have nothing bad to say about Bellsprout, but like again, he's just a whatever Mon. He's not good in anything competitively, at least. He's just Bellsprout. They gave it a whole tower in gold and silver crystal, so I don't know. He's just whatever. He's not dog shit, but he's not anything special either. So he's going in just mid. Weeping Bell, same thing. I have like nothing. I really like. I might even like Bellsprout got its own tower in like gold and silver, heart gold, soul silver, crystal, whatever. I like have even less to say about Weeping Bell. It's just weeping, and besides the fact that it evolves into Victory Bell, like it just is what it is. So it's based off of some sort of plan. I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't look it up, but I don't know. That's not really saving it either. Again, it's not dog shit, but it's just mid, so we're popping it into the just mid. Now, Victory Bell, I have a soft spot for this one. It's one of those, you know, interesting big Mons. It's like, it's a bigger Mon. It had that running joke in the show where it would always just, like, eat James. Like, he would just eat James. I don't even, like, he'd be like, Victory Bell, go. And then the next scene, he'd be, like, dicking around eating James. And, I still think that's funny to this day. Other than that, they gave him a new Mega Evolution. It's goofy. Not crazy about it. You know what was interesting? That for the trailer, for the reveal trailer for its Mega, they made it like a horror scene. If you look up Pokemon ZA Mega Victory Bell reveal trailer, it's like a horror thing. You didn't know what's going on, but I believe, yeah, that was for Mega Victory Bell. But Victory Bell, overall, I don't mind. So, am I going to put it in A tier? No, but I will put it in B tier. Because I think it does deserve at least that. Okay, next, Tentacool. Getting to the nitty gritty here. Tentacool, this thing is like the Zubats of the sea, in the early gens especially. In the caves, you're going to run into Zubats. In the water, you're going to run into Tentacool. So, But I don't hate it as much as Zubat, believe it or not. So, other than that, I don't really have much to... I also really like the design. I'm a sucker for it, and I don't know why. Toad School, interesting. But again, that's a separate Pokemon, so I don't want to attribute anything to that. So, where'd I put Zubat? In just mid... Tentacool, although I like Tentacool as much as Zubat for the comparisons I'm making, I think it's going to go into the just mid with it. Now, Tentacruel, awesome Pokemon. And I think the two things really helping this Pokemon out, its design is cool. Now, for those of you that might not know, there was a point in time where this Pokemon was actually pretty good competitively. It's tanky, its typing isn't bad. I used it for a while. I can't remember the format, but I did like getting it. I'll take it in Ranbats. It did have its play, so that made me really like it. Another thing is in the show, the episode, for some reason, they're just like, oh, there's this Godzilla-sized Tentacruel destroying the city, and it just blows the shit up out of a city. That's the whole episode. It's literally just destroying a city. Like, you're looking at this, right? Like, it's destroying a city. It's a crazy episode, and they're like, we gotta get it out of here. I don't know what the point of that was, but it was a crazy episode. So, that also really helped Tentacruel also in my book. So, Tentacruel, is he an absolute GOAT? No, but I will stick him in the A tier, along with a lot of other badass Pokemon. Moving on, Geodude. Oh, man, this thing is like second tier to Zubat as far as caves go. I mean, shouts Brock's Geodude, but other than that, I don't know. I got nothing to say. It's a rock with arms. What do you want? It is what it is. Dog shit, no. But mid, very hella mid. Graveler, oh man, I might like even... Do I like less than Geodude? No, but it's not much better. Graveler gets... I don't know. Are there any Graveler stands out there? If there are, let me know. There's so many things not going for it. Like, it evolves from Geodude. It follows that middle evolution awkwardness. He's not great. He could be a Nuzlocke ruiner with self-destruct. Like, if you're running Nuzlocke and running into these things, be careful. Get the hell out of there. So he's annoying in that aspect. And he's a trade mon. So, I don't know. Is he dog shit? No. He's helpful as hell in Pokemon Pokopia, but that's as of recent. So, dog shit, no. Mid, very. He could be the flagship monster for just mid, to be honest. Golem, I liked. Is he mid? No. I like that he gets that, like, weird lizard aspect. Yeah, he's just like an interesting mon, man. I've seen him go into his shell, into a rock. Golem's weird. They do this weird stuff where, like, they come out with these, like, designs for Golem and then, like, redact it, and they're like, nah, it's not official and whatever. But, I don't know. I always liked Golem. He could also be a dangerous Nuzlocke runner with self-destruct. Way better than Graveler. His other form, very weird. I don't think it was ever good, or if he was, it was just on niche teams. I just like basic Golem. If you've never seen a Golem dying by explosion, here you go. This isn't official, but it's like a Topps card, I think, or something like that, where it's just a Golem blowing himself up. So, that's kind of cool if you've never seen that. But, other than that, is he just mid? No. I'll toss him in the B tier. Ponyta is... Would I consider it one of the comfort Pokemon? Does it fit the bill? Close, I would say. Close. Borderline. borderline. It has a really cool shiny. Any fire type mon where they give it the blue flames is an instant win for me, at least. They went all in on the comfort Pokemon, the cuteness with the Galarian forms. I think they might have missed the mark a little bit. I don't remember anybody going too crazy about them for what they tried to push them on. Could just be me. But Ponyta, overall, I don't know. Just mid. Dog shit, no. Mid, yeah. Doesn't do it for me. Rapidash, again, amazing shiny. Its flames are almost ghost-like. It's fast. And, you know, fire types. I said I'm a fire type stan. It's in that racing episode where someone's riding it. How can you ride a Rapidash if it's on fire? Its deep lore is it can determine whether it wants its flames to hurt you. I'm just spewing out facts here to try to say something about this mon, but where would I put it? I don't know, that's a tough one. I'm going to go B tier because, like I said, I like my fire types and the shiny 6, so. Alright, Slowpoke. I love Slowpoke and all of its lines. I love Slowpoke, all of its evos, all of its variations, all of its lines. In the game, I love the whole Slowpoke tail thing, where Team Rocket's cutting the tails off because they taste good and they made it illegal because it was killing them off. The whole that it's just too lazy and stupid. Yeah, the Shelder biting it and then it turns into a completely new mon. Like, it's just cool. I like Slowpoke. I think it's a goofy, silly design that I really like it. I'm going to put him in B tier because I think its other Evos are cooler and will get a higher spot. Slowpoke, B tier, has a lot of deep lore. You see it pop up in a lot of the games. It's definitely a popular mon. It's funny. It has a lot of weird stuff going on with it as far as the Shelder. Slowbro. Oh, this is funny. I like this GIF. So yeah, the whole like deep lore, Slowpoke just put its tail in. It gets lazy, and then a Shelder bites it, and then it turns into Slowbro, who we are on to next. I always thought it was interesting that Shelder turns into a completely different, separate Pokemon. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there were scrapped early Pokemon concept designs of a Pokemon that was supposed to be this, but they just never did it. So, it is what it is. But yeah, the Shelder sinks its teeth into Slowpoke. The weight distribution makes it stand up. I believe the poison from the Shelder seeps into Slowpoke and, I don't know, makes it conscious or some shit, and that's why it gets the Psychic type or something, or it unlocks its abilities. I don't know. I like it. Random in Pokemon Unite was an absolute unit. Goated. Its shiny is sick. Its mega is silly. Like, Game Freak knew exactly what they were doing with that. It's just, the Shelder took over the main body, and it is what it is. So, Slowbro, is he going to go in absolute GOAT status? No, but A tier for sure, without a doubt. Magnemite, this is a Magneton, but Magnemite, again, okay, I like Magnemite. I think it's a cool mon. It ends up getting the Steel type later on. Awesome. I am actually going to put it in the B tier. It was one of those mons, too, like, you know how when you're in school and, like, you would just, like, doodle, like, especially, like, more so boys. I don't know what it's like now with cell phones and shit like that, but, you know, back in, you know, my unc's day, drawing was what we had to do to kill time. So Magnemite was one of those easy-to-draw Pokemon. I like drawing it. Again, it ends up getting the Steel type, and its later evolutions helped out a lot. So I'm putting Magnemite in the B tier. Magneton. I said it before with Doug Trio. It's one of those mons where Just add more, specifically 3, call it a day, and it's a new Pokemon. But I actually really liked Magneton pre-Magnezone era. Pre-Magnezone, I'm an early Magnemite line stan. I'm one of the early ones. I wasn't one of those, oh, Magnezone, so I love... Nope. I liked Magneton. I thought Magneton was cool. Is it just 3 Magnemites? Yeah. But again, effective. I liked it. I am actually gonna put it in the A tier. And if you think that it just belongs in the B tier, I'm gonna say that because it evolves into Magnezone, it belongs in the A tier and not the B tier. Magnezone, again, future spoiler alert, will be going into my absolute GOAT tier. Now, Farfetch D. I like him just because. I don't know how to explain it. If it's one of those things where you just had to be there, for what exactly, I can't really say. It's just Farfetch D. It's a bird that has a leak that they would put in random niche games or the show, and it would be what it is. Its other forms are cool, like Surfetch'd and Galarian Farfetch D, but I don't know. Farfetch D was also one of those regional Pokemon Go mons that was like hard to get, I believe. I think it was like, what, Tauros, Kangaskhan, Mr. Mime, and Farfetch D? I think. I'm almost positive, but... And I think for that, would you guys say that it's far-fetched for me to put it in B tier? Because that's where it's going. Okay, anyway. Doduo. I love this Pokemon. I love Doduo, specifically Dugtrio. Dodrio. Like Fearow, I don't know how to describe... It's one of those things where it's like... You know how, like, you really like a Pokemon because it just looks wildly cool, or it's a type you really like, or, like, something niche where, like, in one specific game, it was, like, you want to, like, a Pokemon that carried, so you really like it, or, like, it's one of the coolest looking, like, Pokemon cards. That's not the case for Doduo. It never came in clutch in a game for me. It never, like, was... I know it was good in Pokemon Unite. I tried using it in Pokemon Unite. I didn't like it. It was never, like, a cool card. It was just one of those Pokemon I just really, really, really liked it. I think it was just because, like Fearow, it just has that, like, that design to it. And, like, there's 2 of them. And, I don't know, it's just really cool. It's just, I can't explain it. It's just one of those things I just... And I'm sure a lot of people have those mons. They just can't explain it. But it is one of those mons for me. And I am going to put Doduo in the B tier because Dodrio is going to be in the A tier status for me. Again, another one of those mons. Stick more of it on there. Call it a day. That's all they did. And again, 3 heads instead of 2, but they made it Dodrio. And when I saw the episode in the show where they have the race, remember us with Rapidash, they have that episode where they all race. The one guy picked a Dodrio to ride. And I was like, oh my god, that is so awesome. I want him to win. But it's just a cool mon. I have no idea what's going on in this scene where he was just attacking a helicopter. But yeah, I don't know. Can't explain it. It's just a badass mon. I would play the clip here, but I'm too scared for copyright because it's official Pokemon. But Dodrio was also in the very first episode of Pokemon where he wakes Ash's ass up to go get his starter mon. So yeah, that was another thing where I saw it and I'm like, oh my god, that's Dodrio. He's so sick. So yeah, Dodrio, A tier for me. Okay, Seal. I really don't have much to say. Is it dog shit? No. It's just... It's a Seal. I don't know anyone that is like a Seal stan either. No one's like, I really like Seal. There are least liked Pokemon for sure. But I think... What did I say earlier? Graveler would be the face of just mid-tier? But I think Seal would give it a run for its money, man. It is so mid-tier. It has nothing going for it. And like Dugong? Like the only thing I could think of to say about Dugong is like shouts Lorelei, the first Elite Four member. But like I'm just saying that in terms of that she had it. And it's literally just a Dugong. It's literally just a Seal and a Dugong. So, with that, it's going to follow up the just mid. Grimer, oh man. It's literally just sludge. Like, it's just sludge. It got in a Alolan form, which really did nothing for me. I'm trying to think of anything else to say about it, but I really don't. So, I mean, that's a short, quick mid. Muck, I'm going to have to put in B tier, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm almost positive Ash had one, right? Let me look real quick. Ash did have a Muck, so that was funny. Oh, it looks like he went and revisited it. Did he go on a generational run before they like got him out where he revisited all his old pokes? I don't know. I mean, Muck has been there in the show with them through some thick and thin. So I mean that's a plus. And the stupid joke. If Ekans is Snake backwards and Arbok is Cobra backwards, then what's Muck? Hee hee hee. Relax. Stupid playground joke. I still get that joke thrown around, especially when Muck is ever brought up. It's like that's all anyone has to say about the Mon. But, given Ash's Muck and, you know, the show specifically, I'll put it in the B tier. Shelder, we touched on him again with Slowpoke. It's no Slowpoke, but you wouldn't have Slowbro and the rest of the line without Shelder. So I think that deserves some merit. I also really like Cloyster. So Shelder, I will actually put in the B tier. I know that's shocking, but like I said, Shelder is a pretty key player in terms of a lot of A tier to GOAT tier Pokemon status. So I think it deserves the respect in that regard. So Shelder will go B tier. Cloyster could just be me, but I really like Cloyster. I used to run Cloyster, Skill Link. Incredible move. I don't think Cloyster's good competitively, or if it is, it's in a weird niche thing like UU or RU or something like that. But I know for a bit I did run it competitively. I liked its design. I know it's always compared to a vagina, but I don't want to entertain that idea. But yeah, skilling Cloyster, solid typing, ice water. And with that, believe it or not, I am gonna put it in A tier. Surprising, I know, but again, it's like a Tentacruel type deal, where I used it, I liked it, and you know, if I get it in like a ROM hack or a Nuzlocke, I'll you know, and I have nothing else, I'll still rock it. Ghastly, I like Ghastly. It's cool. I know that the Ghastly line has a humongous fan base. I don't want to sit here and say that I am part of that fan base, but I do really like Ghastly. It's like Ghastly and its line are like the ghost Pokemon. They are like it. And I will say, Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar do deserve, unlike some other Mons, all of the recognition and glaze that they get, especially in like the games and stuff. So Ghastly, honestly, I might even throw the whole line. No, Ghastly I'm gonna put in B tier. Ghastly, solid B tier type mon. Now, Haunter might be a hot take, but I like Haunter better than Gengar. I think Haunter is cooler. I think his sprite, his early sprite down here, looked amazing. I liked him in the show. Saved the day against Sabrina. I think Ash technically had Haunter, but like, I'm not really counting that because I think like he got rid of him like that episode or whatever. Well, yeah, he did to fight Sabrina. But yeah, I like the detached arms. Like, I don't know, it's just the design. It's like a sick, cool ghost. So with that, I am gonna put it in A tier. Gengar, listen, again, I get the Gengar stance. It's deserved. His Gigantamax is unbelievably sick. One of, if not the best Gigantamax forms. His Mega is crazy cool. One of, if not the best Megas. His Mega Shiny is one of the best Shinies. If not the one of the best Shinies. They cooked like so hard. And again, I get it. It's because Gengar is just an absolute goat. Gengar's normal shiny blows cock. That whole line is so bad. But I mean, they just cooked in every regard. And again, I get the love. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm a Gengar stan. Because respect where respect is due. But he is going to go in A tier. He's just amazing. He's amazing competitively. He's an all-around unit. But for me, not GOAT status, because I can't sit here and pretend like I am one when I'm not. Again, I like Haunter better. Onix. This Onix, it was interesting for me because when I was a kid, you know, you don't pick the moves that don't do damage in the games. You know fuck all about IVs and EVs and whatever. You see a Pokemon and oh, it's big and cool, and that was what Onix was. You know, you get walled by Brock and it's he has an Onix in the show. You know, they're riding on Onix. He's huge and whatever. But he was like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? He's just big. He's not particularly that good. The rock ground typing, rock ground, first of all, rough typing. If you're going competitive, it's like, I could be wrong, but it seems like there's just as many rock ground type Pokemon than there are normal flying type Pokemon. There probably isn't, but man, every time I see a rock or a ground type mon, it's usually almost hand in hand together, and its weaknesses are not the greatest. But anyway, remember when there was the Crystal Onix? That was like one of those weird show logic type things that you never saw again. It was cool, but you know, as a kid, I really liked Onix, but then just over time, I'm just like, Onix is just not it. So I'm not going to put him in A tier, but I'm also not going to put him in just mid. So he's going to land solely in B tier. Again, I'm not shitting on him all that much, but, you know, I like Steelix also. Did he deserve a Mega? No, but I thought it was really cool that he got him. Again, that's Steelix. We'll get to him when we get to him. So, Drowsy. Interesting mon. I always wondered why Drowsy looked the way he did given his relation to Hypno and what he's all about. Now, at first glance, Drowsy, I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these, but he's basically based off a tapir. It's just this like weird animal that has a snout. And like I got that early on, so I'm like, okay, Drowsy's a tapir, but like why? Like, I never understood why. And then, like, I looked it up, and it turns out that Drowsy is actually based off of this Japanese folklore thing called a Baku or whatever. And, like, the Baku is, like, kind of like a tapir. It's got, like, this weird snout thing, and it, like, steals and eats dreams, which is, like, what Drowsy's about. So, like, that's technically where it actually comes from. So, I actually didn't know that. I found that out myself as of recently. So, if you didn't know that, there you go. But, I don't know. I always thought Drowsy was just an odd one. You know what I mean? It's just a weird mon. It just, I don't know. Gave off the wrong vibes. I'm going to put him in just mid. Because I don't think he's cool enough for B tier. Now, Hypno. Again, probably just me. But he is one of those mons that I just genuinely really like. I just think he looks cool. He's weird. He just has that vibe. I really just genuinely like him. And because of that, I am tossing him straight up into the A tier. The only thing that I don't like about Hypno is Hypno's Lullaby, Friday Night Funkin'. Again, if you know, you know. It is not a good beat map. Fuck that mod. I don't care. Dog shit. Outside of that, Hypno, goated. One of those mons I just genuinely like. If I can get him and use him in a run, I will. A tier. Krabby. I love Krabby and Kingler. I think they're GOAT. Ash had one. Do you see a running theme here? I loved his cry in the show. I'm not going to play it copyright, but I'm pretty sure he just used to go... Almost positive that was Krabby. Look it up. But again, I liked it. Listen, Krabby and Kingler walked so that Corphish and Crawdont could run. Okay? Goatmon. So, Krabby, again, nostalgia goggles, maybe a little. I'm putting him in the B tier because just mid would be doing him injustice. Kingler, I just think he looks so cool. Especially the designs you get where the one claw is huge. I really like that. He looks cool. Ash had one and used him in a couple tournaments. He got a Gigantamax stand, which was crazy. They didn't have to do that, but they did. It was a good no, but it was just cool. He literally turns into a king crab. Look up what a real king crab looks like. He looks like that, and they give him like the big beard, like he's right here, but it's just so cool. It sucks that Gigantamax and Dynamax is a terrible system. I hated that system. I never liked it. I thought it was trash, but they did give some cool G-Max type mons. And with that, I'm putting Kingler in the A tier. I don't care. I really like him, so it is what it is. Voltorb, again, he's just one of those mons. Like, what do you? He's a Pokeball. Like, what do you want? He's literally just a Pokeball. He's a pissed off electric Pokeball that explodes. Again, you have to be careful in him in some Nuzlocke, but not like some of the other mons that like have like Arena Trap and shit. But he's an electric type and he's fast. Actually, I think he's pretty good for Little Cup. Again, I haven't played Little Cup in a while, so things could have changed, but I'm pretty sure he's up there for Speed Tie. So for that, I'll put him in the B tier because, again, I'm pretty sure Little Cup, he is pretty good for with that. Electrode, again, he's just a Pokeball with... He has a better looking face. I like the face, like the goofy... He's important in Pokemon Snap. He's a fast electric type. You know, that's really it. B tier status along with the Voltorb. I actually think he might be a little more... I think Voltorb might actually be a little more viable than Electrode, but... Execute... I don't know. It's just like ugly, busted ass eggs. Like, and Execute and Executor having Psychic type was always weird for me, because why? And like the reason why they're Psychic type is because they communicate with each other telepathically. Okay, what are eggs doing that for? And like they're apparently like busted up because it's like the coconut from an Executor, when it falls, it finds other ones. Too much deep lore. It's whatever. There's also that scene in like the movie where Chansey takes out one of its eggs and it's an Execute. But then like I found this gif of it pulling out the eggs. And there it's not. So was that a show thing? I don't know. It's whatever. Execute. Where am I throwing it? I'm throwing it in just mid. Like, it's just pissed off eggs, and they piss me off. So, Executor now. Used to not be a fan. Then I found some viability out of him. Whether it be like in ROM hacks or whatever. He's a little bulky. Not the greatest typing. Not the coolest looking. But still, it's one of those pokes where over time I went from like just mid to okay. Executor, sure. So, that being said, I'm going to put him in the B tier. Also, little known fact tidbit for those of you that don't know. Alolan Executor, it's this long one here where he just grows really long. And for those of you that might not know, he turns dragon type. So he's grass dragon. And even I didn't know this. I never understood why. Like the whole thing is like, oh well, because he's like a regional variation, this is the original Executor, and the other one came to Kanto and shrunk in size because it didn't feed off the sun and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that explains that, but like, why the dragon type? So apparently, I just found this out again myself. Alolan Executor is based off of this tree called, I'm probably gonna butcher this, the Dracena palm tree, and it's also known as the dragon tree, and it's this like tropical specific tree that like grows a long trunk, and again is known as the dragon tree. So that's why Alolan Executor gets its dragon type. So yeah, in case you didn't know. Next up is Cubone. Ugh. Literally cry me a river. I can't find its mom. It wears its skull. Oh, it's so dark. I feel so bad. Boo-hoo. This poke is so... First of all, it's not good. Cubone and Marowak are not good. They're trash mons. I don't feel bad for it. It bothers me that there's never been like an official concept of what it looks like without its mask on. I know I said before the whole Diglett thing, like, oh, it's a shrew, get over it. This I want to know. It literally bothers me. They went a whole thing into the game. Oh, the Marowak, it's the dead mom. Who cares? Not me. The skull I've seen, there's theories. Oh, is it because if the Cubone is wearing its dead mom's skull, then what? It had it before the evolution, and so what does it really look like? And then people are like, oh, it's a Charizard, a dead Charizard skull. I've seen people say it's a dead Articuno skull. There's this whole theory with Cubone is actually the baby Kangaskhan, and the Kangaskhan mom dies, and listen, we're done. Enough. Playground rumors. Not having it. Not falling for it. Cubone, for me, just mid. Next, Marowak. Oh man, same thing, same story. You know, they gave it They gave it the Alolan form, but okay, you gave it a fire typing and turned its tragic backstory into a Honolulu dancer? Like, what? Missed the mark on that one. Was it good competitively? I think for like 5 seconds. That's neither here nor there. I'll do a different video on variation regional forms and shit, but for Marowak in general, it's going just mid, right next to Cubone. Right in the dead mom slot. Alright, this is interesting. So we're getting to Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, right? So, again, I don't mean to bore you with the little details here, but I thought this was interesting. So, obviously, everyone knows, oh, Hitmonlee is based off of Bruce Lee, and Hitmonchan is based off of Jackie Chan. You know, the boxer and the kickboxer, but I always thought that was a little weird because Hitmonchan's a boxer, so whatever, but it is what it is. That's the American names, right? So the American names, that's what they could technically be based off of and might be what they were going for. But the Japanese names, originally, when they made Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, they were, I'm just going to read this verbatim here. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan's English names are derived from martial artists Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, so that's what they were. However, their original Japanese names and designs are based on real-life fighting legends. Hitmonlee is inspired by kickboxer, I'm going to massacre these, Tadashi Saramura, while Hitmonchan is inspired by boxer Hiroyuki Ibahara. So Hitmonlee, his name is Sawamura, which is Tadashi Saramura's name, and Hitmonchan is Ebawoler, which is based off of famous boxer Hiroyuki Ibahara. So, they were inspired by real-life kickboxers and Japanese boxers. So, anyway. Sorry if that sounded confusing. But then when they were translated to English, they made them into famous English people's names. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. So, anyway, where does that leave us? I think Hitmonlee's a GOAT. I don't know if it's his design or what it is. I always thought he was way cooler than Hitmonchan in starting there. I was like, oh, I'm always going to pick Hitmonlee over Hitmonchan. They tried with Hitmontop. I think they missed the mark with Hitmontop, unfortunately. And it's a pain in the ass to get that Pokemon. And then they gave us Tyrogue, where it's like, for what? We'll get to that when we rank Gen 2. But Hitmonlee, I just thought he always looked cool. You know, I always thought he looked cooler than Hitmonchan. Is he great? No. But I like him, and I think he's really cool, and I like his design, and I would use him. So I'm actually going to put him in the A tier. I know we haven't had an A tier in a while, but I just like Hitmonlee that much. He is just one of those pokes for me. Hitmonchan, on the other hand, I always just thought was a lesser version of Hitmonlee. I just never thought he was as cool. And, you know, I gotta respect the design. I do like the design. And, I mean, respect where respect is due, but is Hitmonchan better? I actually don't know who's technically better. It might be Hitmonchan. But, again, I would always go Hitmonlee. I'm going to put Hitmonchan in the B tier just because I just don't foresee him as cool as Hitmonlee and some other pokes too. But anyway, Lickitung, I don't know. Again, fat pink pussy Pokemon. I think it's based off of a yokai. The fact that Licky, it evolves into Licky, I unironically think that Pokemon is funny and I like it. Lickitung, I can't say the same thing. On just a straight up normal type Pokemon also, it doesn't do anything for me. I think it was like a slapstick joke in the show maybe for like 2 seconds. I know Licky was. Just mid. I'm dropping them in just mid because I really don't have anything else to say about that. Coughing. You know, it was a Team Rocket staple for James. Another poke, I really don't have anything much to say. I wouldn't use it in a run. I wouldn't use Weezing in a run. But, yeah. It is what it is, and just another Honestly, just mid. I think a lot of these, some of these mons coming up are going to be just mid. Wheezing, I like James's Wheezing, but other than that, again, I wouldn't use him in a run. He's not great. They tried with Galarian Wheezing, and I saw the vision. I saw the vision. Fairy Poison, the first of its kind, could have been good, but I don't know. I think the weaknesses are just too great. If I didn't use it, it might have been good for like a split second. Interesting take. Like, it's supposed to be like a toxic power plant. I don't know what the fairy thing is about, but Wheezing alone, I'll put him in B tier. Again, another one of those mons where it's like, oh, just add another one and call it a day. Rhyhorn. Oh, man. It's been a while since I feel like I'm gonna catch some flack, but I am not a fan of the Rhyhorn line. Rhydon, Rhyperior. I just am not. Rhyhorn, you would think, and when I look at it, it looks cool, right? It's got, like, these moving pieces and all this stuff, and it's like a tank, but I just am not a fan of it. I am not a fan of it. I'm going to put Rhyhorn in B tier because I don't think it deserves just mid. I get the fandom around it, but for me, it's a no. Rhydon, just like Nidoking and a couple other mons, man, it's that early design, make a big bulky monster with some spikes and call it a day. It's just one of those ones. And again, I'm sure I'm going to catch some flack because there are some diehard Rhydon, Rhyperior line fans. It's just not it for me. Not it for me. I know the whole what is it? The little little party trick people like to throw out. Oh, well, who was technically the first Pokemon, right? Have you guys ever heard that? And like the 4 options are Bulbasaur because he's technically number 1 in the Pokedex, Arceus because he's the god of all Pokemon. Who's the next one? Rhydon because he's technically the first Pokemon that was ever put into and programmed into the official games, which is why all the statues, at least in the early games, all look like Rhydons because that was like the first model that they got. Or who's the last one? Mew, because it's like the ancestor of all Pokemon. So I know Rhyhorn fits into that for that little like LOL gag or whatever, but I'm not a Rhydon stan. Shouts aiming for the horn. That's why Rhydon lost. That's a J-Wits line from the Cyphers 2013. Shouts again. In the anime, though, Pokemon show logic, Ash's Pikachu beats Rhydon by aiming for its horn because it's like a lightning rod. That's a throwback to one of our old YouTube videos for those of you that have been around here forever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a fan, and it gets glazed, and I just don't get it. Rock ground again, too. Another rock ground. But, I'm throwing him in the just mid. I don't care. I saved myself with the Nidoking. I feel like I saved myself with the Nidoking. I'm not doing it for the Rhydon. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I think he's just mid. Next, we have Chansey. I don't know. I think I dislike this Pokemon more than I like this Pokemon. First of all, yep, I know you were thinking it. I don't even have to say it, but another fat pussy pink Pokemon. It's an EXP farm wall. It saved the day how many times in the show with Nurse Joy, and it's come in clutch, some clutch moments. I get that. I don't think it's good in Little Cup. Could be wrong, but I don't think it is. I mean, great for EXP wall, but, then you get Blissey, kind of the same category. What is it, Gen 4, that it takes forever with the health bars to kill, so that sucks. But, yeah, I don't know, normal type again. Overall, Chansey, You know, how about this? Because it was such an integral part of the show, and because I think it was good in Unite, Blissey, I'm going to give it, I'm going to put a B tier. I'll drop it in B tier. For the Chansey fans out there, I can't say I never did you one. Tangela. Always like this guy. Goofy little guy, red shoes. You don't know what its actual body looks like. But, like, you don't need to know. It's not like Cubone where, like, I'm dying to know. But, like, you don't need to know. And, again, cute little guy, has all its vines. And it evolves into Tangrowth. Always loved Tangrowth. Just a solid Mon, especially in Gen 4 when they introduced it. Shouts Professor Tangrowth from New Pokopia. But that's more so when we get to Tangrowth. But again, Tangela, by himself, is he good? Is he great? No. Little Cup? No. But again, I just like him. I think he's just like a cool little guy. And that evolves into something badass. So, with that, I think he's going right in the B tier. Kangaskhan, I don't know. Alright, so we touched on him with the whole Cubone theory, whatever. Again, big bulky monster with some spikes and whatever. He has a lot of weird theories where it's like it has this other attached Pokemon to it where it's its own. It's not its own thing. It's just part of the Pokemon, like the Shelder with Slowbro's tail, and it's just weird. I was never crazy about it. Again, one of those regional mons in Pokemon Go, so it was annoying there. Where it really did shine was when it got its Mega Form. Man, this thing was busted. They had to nerf the shit out of it because it was too good. It could hit twice, and then it had Power Up Punch, and it was just a unit. This thing was causing problems out there. I know that. So, and I did use it for a bit also because of that, and because I wanted to try something new and whatever. So it gets kudos for there, but really, other than that, I don't know. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I really think it is just straight up B tier material. You know what I mean? Again, I get its Mega was crazy good and everything, but like overall as a whole, like really think about it overall as a whole, and out of all Pokemon, like are you going to put it in GOAT status with other Mons? No. Again, unless you really liked when its Mega was running rampant, but again, they nerfed it. Or made it illegal at least, so Horsey is what it is. It's Horsey. Doesn't really do much for me. I love Kingdra, but that's neither here nor there. Horsey's Horsey. I got nothing to say on it. Misty had one. I'm throwing it right in just mid. Seadra, again. Kingdra saved it. I think Kingdra really saved this Mon. I don't think its design is just mid. And it does have a kind of cool design overall, and I would say I like it enough to toss it right in the B tier. I would toss it right in the B tier. Goldeen, it's going right in the B tier, and I'll tell you why it's not going in the just mid. First of all, it evolves into Sea King. Fuck yeah, Sea King. If you don't know what that old meme is, I will show you, or go look it up yourself. That meme was running rampant back in the early days of memes. Also, I liked its cry in the show. Goldeen, Goldeen, Goldeen. That was funny. I can't play it. And then in the French version, I believe it's Goldeen in the French version. Go look it up. I swear to God, it goes, pussy, pussy, pussy. No idea why or what it's saying, but almost positive that was Goldeen. So given all those facts, it's going right in the B tier. Sea King? I already said it. The fuck yeah Sea King meme. This thing, for no reason, took off and ran rampant. These are all from back in the day. These aren't brand new. When Sea King gets brought up, it's immediately attributed to these memes. It was literally just a whatever Pokemon, and that randomly this meme took off and blew up and was funny, and it was what it was. It originated on 4chan like any other meme. So, but yeah, I think that really elevated it for me. And then I have had some ROM hacks where like I would run Seaking just because of the lulls, and it has saved me in some tight spots. So I'm gonna put Seaking in the A tier because I just think it genuinely belongs there. Staryu, I'm not gonna put in the A tier, but I will be putting it in the B tier. I love Starmie. I've come to like it even more. Staryu's shiny is by far one of the best shinies, possibly up there ever. It is so clean. Also, Staryu and Starmie, I might have said Starmie, I meant to say Staryu. Starmie's is okay, Staryu's is the cleanest. Staryu and Starmie have this weird thing where, like, I don't know if they're aliens or not because of, like, they have this whole, like, weird, like, background lore with this gem. It's like the gem is, like, I don't know, something, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them or what, but again, Staryu, incredible shiny, evolves into Starmie. Staryu, I will put at the B tier. Oh, Staryu might also actually be goated for Little Cup teams. So, not enough for me to put it in A tier, although it is incredible for Little Cup teams. Next, Starmie, incredible Pokemon. Is it going absolute GOAT? No, I can't sit here and be like, I'm a Starmie stan like some other people. But Starmie is goated enough to be in the A tier for me. Don't care what anyone says. Was iffy about its Mega, but then when I got ZA and played through it, I fell in love. It's that goofy. It's that slick. It's funny. It's like a big superhero. It becomes a physical attacker. I love it. Don't care what anyone says. I also love a normal Starmie. I can't really get it here, but in the show, like, its back will spin, like, while its front stays stationary. It's kind of cool. I also love its cry. It just goes, huh! Like, what is that? I don't know, but for that, that's why Starmie belongs in the A tier. Mr. Mime. I hate this Pokemon. I do not like it. I do not like it. I do not like this Pokemon. I think it's terrible. I think it's bad. Its design pisses me off. I hated it in the live action movie, except it surprised me because it did make me chuckle a couple of times. But other than that, I cannot stand this Pokemon. Listen. It's, what, Galarian form? I do like. And I think Mr. Rhyme is a go. But Mr. Mime, by itself, trash. And the whole, Ash's mom is hooking up with Mr. Mime. Grow up. Stupid. I swear that's all anyone brings up when Mr. Mime gets brought up. I hate it. I don't like it. Its design, even in its original sprite, is so bad. It's going right in the D for dog shit. Straight up. Like, it's going right in there. I'm trying to think who pisses me off more. Female Nidoran or Mr. Mime. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much. I'm going to give myself a headache. Moving on, Scyther. I don't like this Pokemon as much as other Pokemon, or other people do, but I do really like Scyther. Scissor pisses me off for how much people like it. We'll get to that. I don't want to touch too much on that here, but I do really like Scyther. I think it has a cool design. Just an all-around awesome Mon. I'll put it in the A tier. I'll put it in the A tier just because I think its design is solid. And it's just a cool Mon. Sucks that he's banned in Little Cup, but whatever. He would be too strong. He would kill it there. But yeah. Scyther A tier. I think it's a solid spot there. Jinx. Not really doing it for me. It's just Jinx. You know, it's anything particularly good. Used to have Blackface, but you know Nintendo, they want to steer clear of all controversy, so they scrubbed the shit out of that and made her purple. I'm honestly surprised they kept the Mon overall. Didn't just get rid of the Mon entirely. But, you know, I mean, I didn't give a shit whether it kept the Blackface or not. And Jinx is just not particularly anything good. I like when people compare it to Nicki Minaj because it does kind of look like Nicki Minaj. I think it's based off of a yokai or some shit. But, it was just never really anything doing it for me. So I'm going to just toss it in just mid. I don't really have a reason to toss it in dog shit, so. I don't know why I have this picture of Jinx as a Gengaro girl here, but anyway. Electabuzz. Now, these three here. Okay. Electabuzz and Magmar. I'm going to put them in the B tier. Both of them, straight up. I'm going to tell you why. I like Magmar better than Electabuzz. I know a lot of people hate Magmar. They go, oh, he has ass cheeks for a head and whatever. Listen, again, fire type stan. And also, the fight where Ash's Charizard fights Blaine's Magmar is an incredible episode. And I do like Electabuzz. But I think these are both solid B tiers. And as much as I love Magmortar because it's hard to beat Gun, Electivire is just such a unit. It is unbelievable how cool Electivire is. He might make it an absolute GOAT. We'll find out when we get to Gen 4. But Magmar and Electabuzz, I'm putting in B tier. Pinsir. I am actually going to put Pinsir in the A tier. I really like Pinsir. I don't know why they made it kind of hard to catch. I believe he was in the Safari Zone, right? Oh, yeah, that's another thing with Kangaskhan, too. They put him in the Safari Zone, made him hard to get. And Chansey, too, I think, right? Was also Safari Zone. But Pinsir, whether it was the bug catching contest or the Safari Zone, I always just liked... I like Pinsir over Heracross, but I like Heracross's Mega better than Pinsir's Mega. I think Pinsir's Mega isn't bad, but Heracross got a better one. But I like Pinsir better than Heracross. He's just like, he looks like a cool, mean son of a bitch, you know? So, his shiny's cool too. I like the gray or blue or whatever you want to consider that. So, yeah. I like Pinsir. I think he's cool. I like this plush also. Tauros. Might be random, but I am a Tauros stan. Way before the Paldean region variants. I love Tauros. I really do. I don't know why. He is just a unit. I believe in like Gen 1. If you play Gen 1 competitive, this thing is a monster. For a normal type too, but there were just some like crazy moves out there. I think his attack and speed are kind of high. And his move pool is crazy. But yeah, Tauros... I'm a Tauros stan. I really am, and I always will be. So, I'm not going to put him in GOAT, but I'm going to put him in A tier. So, yeah. And I mean, they just solidified it with the Paldean forms. I never really fucked around with them too much, so I can't speak on them, but I know that they were, like, busted. Or at least one of them was. So, next is Magikarp. I really like this Magikarp card. I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks there. But, I always liked the way Magikarp looked. And, like, I get the whole gimmick. He's trash until he turns into Gyarados and he's really good. But, the whole lore behind him, the Magikarp that makes it up the river, the waterfall, and turns into Gyarados and yada, yada, yada. But whatever. But, Magikarp, I'm gonna put in B tier. Because he really is a solid mon. He really is. He always was and will forever be one of those early water-type mons that evolves at level 20 and is early enough that you get Gyarados, that it's an unbelievably crazy good Pokemon that will help any run you're doing. So, gotta respect it for that. Gyarados. Here's a picture of Gyarados flying, by the way. If you guys have never played this game or you've never seen it, because Gyarados is water flying. And in Pokemon Legends Arceus, he's literally just flying above a waterfall. So there's that. I know there are Gyarados stands, like a lot of other Pokemon lines. But I am not I am not as big a Gyarados stan as some other people are. I love Gyarados. I think he's an incredible mon. His Mega's cool, although don't know where it stands competitively. And again, I love Gyarados. I really do. I don't want it to sound like I'm knocking him by me not putting him in absolute GOAT and putting him in A tier. I'm putting him in A tier. I think what might, I don't want to say kill it for me, but is the fact that he is just, like, he is so many people's favorite. And I get it. I'm not knocking him for that. But for me, I'm putting him in the A tier. Shiny Gyarados, this is also one of the coolest, sickest cards ever, is Shining Gyarados. When this Pokemon card came out, it is so sick. Just the guy on the boat with the pissed off red Gyarados, which is literally everybody's first shiny Pokemon ever, so yeah. Now Lapras. I'm struggling with this one between GOAT and A tier. It might be one of those ones that literally falls on the line between absolute GOAT and A tier. I just love Lapras. The design is so cool. It's like a Loch Ness monster, but like it's has that, like, you can ride on it on its back, and Ash had one, and you get one in the game from Silphco, and its typing is good, and its stats are good. It got this cool Gigantamax form, which made it look even cooler. And, like, it has that, like, majestic, like, calm look to it, where, like, you can trust it, and, like, it's got your back. And it was hard to get in Pokemon Snap, and you know, like, I'm glazing the shit out of it, but I really like Lapras. I genuinely like the mon. Its shiny is cool. And you know what? Going over all that, I'm putting Lapras in my absolute GOAT. I just think he's just an incredible mon. I just think he's an incredible mon. So for that, he deserves to go into absolute GOAT. Ditto. Pokemon Pokopia really helped this mon out as far as where I would rank it. Before that, it was just like, it had one gimmick, Transform. It had the whole theory, unconfirmed. This is one of the ones I like better. It's like when they were trying to clone Mew into Mewtwo, all the failed experiments of Mew became Ditto because, like, it's the same color as Mew. Its shinies are the same color. It can transform and learn every move. It's basically Ditto is the failed clone of Mew. And, like, you find him in, what, the old Chateau? Is that where you find him? I don't think. On Cinnabar Island, where they're technically trying to clone. Then you have all, like, the, you know, the plushes and the cards of whenever Ditto transforms into a Pokemon. It gets its, like, goofy-looking face. All these clay-looking cards. I don't know if anyone had any of these clay cards. So, like, that was funny. But again, when Pokemon Pokopia came out, this really made Ditto jump up in my book. If you haven't played the game, it's an unbelievably incredible game. I love it. I'm still playing it. I've been streaming the shit out of it. I'm not creative, but I love the game. If you don't like Animal Crossing or like Dragon Quest Builders, then the game won't be for you. I'm being straight up. But it is an incredible game if you are on the fence about buying it. But I don't think that's enough for me to give Ditto A tier, so I'm going to put it solid B tier mon. Now, the Eevee line. Eevee itself. I hope I don't catch too much flack for this one like I will some other ones. I understand the Eevee. The Eevee like. I do. It's a flagship mon. It's, I would say, number 2 to Pikachu. Game Freak knows what it's doing. It's all over everything. It's marketable to fuck. People like Eevee. And the fact that it can evolve into everything also helps it out. I am just not an Eevee stan. Do I like Eevee more than Pikachu? I'm going to say yes. So with that, Eevee will be going, actually in the same tier as Pikachu, into just mid. It is just mid for me. It is just mid for me. It really is. Now, these next three mons. Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. I will eventually have an evolution that is absolute GOAT. Unfortunately, it will not be one of these three. But I will be putting all three of them in the A tier status. All for different reasons. Vaporeon, because I used to run Vaporeon competitively back in the day. And it water type, wall, incredible. Same thing with Jolteon. Jolteon used to be unbelievably goated, especially back in the day competitive. It was one of the fastest, if not the fastest mons, up until, Ninjask? And that was also when speed was based on crit chance. So your crit chance was based on your speed, Ivy. So Jolteon was, busted. So, and now if you're thinking why Flareon, only reason, because I'm a fire-type stan, and I like Flareon, and Flareon has gotten such a short end of the stick, it's unbelievable. People just genuinely don't like Flareon, and to be fair, it's not good. It's the worst it's so bad. I feel like it's never gotten any love. The design isn't great. It's shiny as trash. But it's fire type, and I like it for that reason. And it's up there with the other A tier. So again, different reasons. Vaporeon. Also, Vaporeon shiny is goated. Jolteon shiny is goated. Competitive reasons. That's why I like them. Flareon, because cute fire type. That's why I like it. Porygon, incredible mon. I'm not going to put it in A tier. I'm going to put it in B tier, but it's a strong B tier because Porygon 2 and Porygon Z are unbelievable. I just think they're so much cooler, but Porygon is also a strong mon. Also, for those of you that don't know, Porygon had one of the few Pokemon episodes that had to get pulled from air and never shown again because when the episode aired, they were stuck in a computer and there was a scene where it flashed blue and red really fast across the screen. You can look it up. And it gave seizures to 1/3 of Asia that watched it, to little kids. So they were like, oh fuck, we gotta pull this. So interesting fact, but shouts Porygon. Omanite. Shouts Lord Helix Fossil. He's a cool mon. I like Ammonite. Our savior, Lord Helix, really helped boost it for me. Cute little guy. Rather water rock type. I like it. Is he just mid? No, he is not just mid for me. He is B tier. Omastar, I really like Omastar. This is one of those mons where I was always like, oh, Kabutop's way cooler than Ammonite Omastar. But then over time, I don't know, Omastar really, rose in the ranks for me. So I'm going to put Omastar, solid B tier. I like Omastar. Cool concept, OG fossil pokes. I just like it. Kabuto. I like Kabuto. I like Kabutops. Kabuto's based off of Trilobite, is that what it's called? I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's also the glowing eyes with the fake eyes above it was always interesting. I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of it, but I don't seem to be able to. I mean, you could basically see it. But yeah, I always thought that was weird and ominous and kind of cool. I'm gonna put that in the B tier. Kabutops. I mean, Kabutops is goated. Is he an amazing mon? No. But I mean, he's just cool. He's just cool looking. There's the theory that Genesect is a remade Kabutops that they put armor on. Interesting, but I don't really believe in it. But I really like Kabutops. I think he's really cool. Awesome design. Cool mon. Water rock too, which is odd, but whatever. I'm going to stick him in the A tier. Aerodactyl. This thing used to be a menace back in the early days of competitive. Also, again, dinosaurs. I'm a sucker for dinosaurs. I really like the design. Really cool mon. Shiny's pink. Without Aerodactyl, we wouldn't have Ash's Charizard because he kicks Charmeleon in the face and that pisses him off. And then Charizard sends him back to the Stone Age, literally. Those were cool episodes where Aerodactyl was just running amok. I also think they get Togepi from that episode, too. Could be wrong. But, yeah, I really like Aerodactyl. He's cool. Like I said, dinosaur. Now, is he gonna go an absolute goated? I don't think he is. He will not be. Again, not to say that, he's not badass and incredible, but just not there. His Mega was also weird for me. They just threw spikes on it. It was whatever. I believe it was pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. A tier for sure, which isn't bad, but yeah. Snorlax, right there to the top, absolute GOAT status. Absolute GOAT status. I love this Pokemon. This Pokemon gets all the love it deserves. They really do like this mon. And this Pokemon does have a huge fan base. And I am a part of that huge fan base. I think all the love is deserved. And it's a crazy, cool, funny, good Pokemon. Here's a meme of it spending how many years trying to sit up through all its different sprites. It's literally just on the ground rolling around until it finally stands. I think that's funny. It was one of my goats in Pokemon Unite. It has a cool Gigantamax form where it just has this, like, it's been sleeping for so long. It just has an ecosystem on it. I think it's funny. Mosslax in the new Pokopia game is an awesome mon. So Snorlax is just a goat, and I use him whenever I can, and I just think he's an incredible Pokemon. And I didn't know this for the longest time, but I was always thought, like, oh, how come Snorlax is this, like, what is he based off of? Like, what is he? Is he just like a giant sleeping... He's based off of one of the top creators of Pokemon, like one of the top, like, Game Freak Pokemon people, like, that was there from the beginning. I'm going to show you what he looks like. And if you've never seen him before, you're going to go, holy shit, that guy looks exactly like Snorlax. And I know you're wondering, how can a person look like the Pokemon Snorlax? But you'll see. But apparently, like, this was a top guy. I believe he's still with the company and everything. He's up there. He's one of the old head goats. But I guess he's, like, a bigger guy, and he used to, like, steal, like, the other, like, employees' foods and stuff. So they just made Snorlax to, like, represent him. But yeah, here he is. Koji Nishino? Yeah, he literally just looks like Snorlax. He is Snorlax. They based the Pokemon off of this guy. So, yeah. There he is. It's so funny. I didn't know that for the longest time, but yeah, I thought that was cool. So that's where Snorlax comes from. So, yeah, Snorlax, absolute GOAT status, and that's where he is. So, there we go. There's my final list for Gen 1. The absolute GOATs that made it. I actually thought I was going to have more, but the absolute GOATs that made it were Meowth, Golduck, Machamp, Lapras, and Snorlax. I'm a little slightly surprised. I thought there might have been more. I thought the nostalgia goggles might come into play a little bit, but I guess they really didn't, so that's good. So yeah, the ones moving on to the final list from Gen 1 will be those 5 Pokemon, so that's not bad. A lot of A tiers, way more B tiers. Just mid, I thought there would be a little more. I mean, the D for dog shit. Ugh, I can't even look at them. It makes me sick. So, yeah, that's the final list. And like I said, those top 5 will be moving on. This video actually ended up being way more longer than I wanted it to be. I would have liked it to have been a lot more short, a lot more shorter, because I know people don't really like, long form content and things like that, but I figured instead of just like ripping a tier list and, you know, like blah 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 blah, I'd, you know, give you guys like a little bit of tidbit of information and something you could take away from the video instead of it just being my opinion and pissing people off with what you might think is a bad call on the list. So, you know, let me know what you think of the video. Leave your comments down below. I want to know who your guys' favorite Pokemon are, more specifically Gen 1, but if you want to talk about some other ones, what decisions you agree or disagree with, yeah, definitely leave in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys, especially what you thought specifically for Gen 1 and maybe what you might have changed, what you might have made different, or if you agree or disagree. And again, I know the video was longer and not everybody likes the longer form content, but again, I wanted to add some, like, you know, some facts and reasoning behind, you know, what I did, so you guys can take away something you might not have known, or checked out some of the stuff yourself, or maybe even just give you a reason to go try out, you know, replay one of the older games or go try out one of the newer games yourself. So, you know, again, if you like that, be sure to drop me a like, subscribe. The links to all our other socials and platforms will be in the description below. We live stream a crazy amount, actually more than we make content, and produce a lot of shorts too. So make sure you to check us out when we're live. And yeah, we have a good time, and we do a lot of other stuff that isn't Pokemon, but we are a big Pokemon channel, so I thought this would be a good place to start. So again, we appreciate all the love and support, and I can't wait to see what we get out of Gen 2. Again, I was kind of surprised with Gen 1 with those 5 mons, but yep, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, guys.